Okay, my country people are return now. This is BBC Pidgin Service, and we come from live from the medium security prison, where be the Kuje Correctional Center for Abuja, Nigeria capital, where the people attack this early Momo. Now for the Nigeria capital, for Kuje area council, 19 happen. Witnesses where they around talk say them hear loud explosions and gunfire around the prison area. And one of the officials for the Nigeria Interior Ministry say security forces don't take control. True, as we dey so security people full this place, army, civil defense, police. In fact, different kind of security people na in dey for here, and the Jagoda people destroy some of the vehicles wey dey here, and as they see for this live video, I no go fit waka go front pass this place where I dey, because now here they allow Tori people to stay for the meantime. So if you look well from this live video, you go see the bus where them burn some cars too, where so them burn other buses for inside the premises. But the latest story, the cocoa way they happen at this moment, be say the security people they go catch some of the inmates wey run comot from the prison, and the Minister of Defense before now don't talk to talk people. Wetin him talk be say him allege say na Boko Haram na him do this attack for this prison, sake of say their members wey they arrest reach up to 64 for this place. So him believe say na them na him do the attack. This one why they tell us so no be me talk am, na the Nigeria Minister of Defense na him talk am. So country people, na so they happen for the Kuje Correctional Center. As it be so, then say almost 900 inmates now in this place, but about 600 be escape. But some voluntarily come by themselves, while then still catch others come back. So for the total of 900, about 600 run. So inside the 600, they don't catch about 300 come back. So 300, they still they find them, they see whether then go come back. Country people, so now the latest updates, and the Minister of Defense and the Permanent Secretary for Ministry of Interior, we talk to Tori people before now. They don't enter inside to go do inspection to see as it take happen. When they come back, then go talk to Tori people again. So country people, if you just join us, this is BBC Pidgin Service, and we dey inside the Kuje Correctional Center where Jagoda people attack, and then some of the inmates then jackpa. So now waiting they happen here. The big story, as I talked before, Minister of Defense don sama accuse on top Boko Haram head, say him believe say na them do am, sake of say plenty of their members they inside this prison, and then reach up to 64 way they here. So as we dey here, so we can see as the prison officers they still go carry some people, they catch them, they come back. So
good evening, everyone. Good evening. Mazes okay here speaking to us. Welcome to Njenje Media TV, and this is the Wednesday, the 6th of July 2022. You can see the video you watched is nothing else than the updates as to this morning. Recall, many of you who joined me very late last night, as if I knew I couldn't sleep because it was awkward. Why is it that yesterday, or rather yesterday evening, late last night, the convoy of President Muhammadu Buhari was attacked? Yes, the president wasn't there, but that was an advance team of his convoy that went to Katsina. Many questions that sometimes you think about these things and what incompetence could do. You begin to question how and who told those that attacked that the president would have to travel by road to Katsina. How did they know? Was that a random attack or was they planned attack? And here we have it now that these guys have gone to Kuje prison. And over 600. Just wrap your head around it. 600 people freed. 600. As the report has it, that which we cannot even trust, that about 300 people have been recaptured. And when governments tell you that 600 people, when they on their own tell you that they know this number of people and this number of people is being recaptured, well, you know, it says a lot, and it leaves a sour taste in my mouth to actually want to believe what it is.
Where the breakout took.
However, now something extraordinary happened that not ordinarily, you know, one would think, okay, yeah, the president is, you know, it's good that the president visited. President Muhammadu Buhari acted like he never did before. In a date that an incident happened in Abuja, President Muhammadu Buhari visited that place. Myself, in one of the forums, I commented, wow, that is commendable. If the president suddenly has woken up and began to do things that people are demanding that he does. But some people called my attention saying, Mazi, no, the reason why he's doing it is because he feels threatened that is too close a call. And now recall, just imagine for 1 second, if this had happened in the Southeast, would the president ever bother to come? By now, every male child in the surrounding where these attacks took place will be under army custody by now. Many must have been shot. No one talks about arrest. Many may have been shot. You know, sometimes when these things happen, it feels you have two Nigeria. One is being treated the way a man everybody wants to treat them. The other, maybe because that is close to him. I do not know. Without any prejudice here, let's look at when the president visited, and credit to Arise TV.
Place, violent exchange of fire between the bandits or terrorists, whoever broke in, with security forces. And the crowd you're seeing right now, there's a big security presence. President Buhari, he's boots on the ground. He's live. He's visiting. You can see all the security officials that are there as the president takes a tour of the damage. You can see the military officials there. President Buhari, in fact, that's him. As the camera is zooming, I think that's, if you can, yeah, right there in the middle, the president is there. You can see the cameras there. He is taking a walkthrough and taking in the damage that took place. We know about, what, 300, 400 prison inmates were escaped. There's a manhunt. Ferdinand Durohaya, our very own correspondent, he's on the ground live. We spoke with him. He's been talking to all our Eyes TV channels and segments about what took place. And President Buhari, he is right there in Kuje right now, taking in the damage. Again, heavy artillery was used to knock down pillars and the infrastructure in that particular prison. There is a fatality. In the surrounding area, you'll see burnt down vehicles, which is evidence of the gunfire and artillery and weaponry that was used. And I mean, you know, we broke the story first. We've been covering this all day. And so as you can see, the movement now, it looks like the president is going to be heading inside the building. There he is. That's him all dressed in white. Yeah, that's the president going in there. All right, he's gone into the building. You can see the barbed wire. Look at the barbed wire that's hanging from the wall. Look at the broken wall. Look at the officials that are trying to make sure they don't fall over as they walk in. You can see the yellow tape that's supposed to separate individuals from there. You can see the security officials, the bodyguards, the military, the police. There are other officials there, which I believe are part of, possibly part of the president's cabinet, that are live. There's the all heavily armed guards to protect the president as he takes a walkthrough of the Kuje break-in. Massive break-in. The inmates have escaped. I mean, you can see the scale of the damage as the president walks through there.
Now, you know, begin to ask yourself, is it that we do not have CCTV in this prison? How come this manner of prison break happened? No person, not one person, not one of those that came was killed. No one was, I mean, maybe I'm thinking too much, but this thing doesn't add up, people. To say that this is a national embarrassment is to, it's a joke. You have, I mean, how did they move these ammunitions and these trucks and come in Abuja? This is not, geez, this is not somewhere in Chibok. This is not somewhere in Madugri. This is not somewhere in Nasarawa, or this is Namuda or Bayelsa or in the outskirts of Anambra. No, this is in the city of power. This is where it happens in Abuja, and bunch of ragtag terrorists can just walk in, drive in with their ammunitions, with whatever they came with, and they perpetrate something like this, and everybody, the whole nation, is just keeping quiet, watching. Man, now 20, close to getting to, in the next couple of hours, it will be 24 hours. Yet not a single soul has been questioned. No one. I can bet you 1 million naira, no one will be sacked. No one will be sacked. Nothing will happen. The only thing they might do, they won't even talk to us, because you and I amounts to nothing. Our lives means absolute jackal. We amount to nothing. No one will talk to us. No one would address a nation to reassure them anyway. The one they've been reassuring you, and so what? What has all the reassurances done for us? Reassure you, assure you. What has all the assurance
I assure you that our government.
But I assure you.
I assure you. I want to assure you.
I assure you.
You see, we've been assuring. Where are we with all these assurances that something like this can happen? This breaking, this level of disgrace can happen in a nation known as Nigeria, and no head will roll. 600. Think about it. That means, what it means is that insurgency will be on the increase. Criminal, rape, whatever it is, robbery, all manner of evil will be on the increase. We are struggling. People were hoping that the prison break that happened during NSAS, that things are coming to normalcy, that getting this under control, then this again. Man, Nigeria, Buhari, you assure us, you assure us. Huh? Anyway, what would I say? When you said it to yourself, that the government has failed
to do its principal duty of protecting life or property of all beings inside its territory in Nigeria.
A clear case of what you just said, that the government has failed in protecting lives and property, which is the principal duty of government. And Buhari, this is what has happened. How can the terrorists has now become so emboldened that they would want to attack a president? You know what that means, for Christ's sake. Think about it for once. Boris Johnson is, his motorcade. Yes, he's not in it. His motorcade attacked. Think about it. Just have a mental picture of it. 24 hours later, every single person that is involved in that attack is shown on BBC, Sky News, and ITV. Move to Germany. Think about it. The German Chancellor, his motorcade, attacked in Germany. And 24 hours later, no idea. All we hear is that they were repelled. You see, repellent and a mosquito them be. That's all that they repelled it. Imagine Joe Biden, his motorcade attacked, and we are here still talking about it. Oh, Milko, sorry. Oh, these are white people. Oh, I forgot. Silly me. White people. Now let's come back to Africa. Can you think that something like that could happen in Rwanda? And people will be talking about it? Those that are behind it will not be routed out. I don't know. But it's more scary when you know that these things happen and you can see the bank on how they invaded. And when some of you, and when some people, some Nigerians are beginning to be too skeptical about the government, do you blame them? When a military officer in full camera glare will tell people that if a Boko Haram repents, oh, maybe those ones there that are about to be repented, now they've gone. Election is coming. They could actually become your president. These are not my words. These are words of a general, a military general in your own country.
An ex-Boko Haram stands having laid his arms and comes back, turns his way away from his negativity. He stands to be a president of this country. He stands to aspire to any position in this country.
Okay, you see, he stands to be, to be given. He stands to win the presidency. So it could be that who is going to come for 2023 might be someone that just done an escape from Kuje priest and tells us, oh, sorry, I have turned away from my negativity. Then why don't you give others also the same opportunity to turn away from their negativity? There are places you do shoot aside because there are places you don't like. Can we do whatever that is good for the goose, let it also be good for the gander? Can we do that? Is it too much to ask? No one supports evil. What happened in Abuja is national calamity, national evil that ought to be condemned and must be condemned by every single Nigerian who says he's a Nigerian, every single human being. However, it does not stop on Mazezoke condemning it, you watching me condemning it. No. Those behind it must be routed out, even if they go in the ant or rat hole. They must be routed out. And once they're routed out, but here, how would you know? We were once told that those doing some of these things, they come from Libya, or from the ammunition they get from Libya. They're from Mali. Yeah. Suddenly we are told they are our brothers, our sisters, we must accommodate them and we must live with them. Here we have. Just imagine now, maybe my mind is playing Karo again. Just imagine as we are watching this, suddenly some people start shooting again. I'll just look at the president may just dive in under this thing. But this is crazy. If they can do this last night, who told you that they cannot do any other thing? But well, I must give kudos where kudos is due. No matter, even if when you disagree with me, my mind, I must speak. My mind is that I say kudos for President Muhammadu Buhari for once doing the right thing. And what is the right thing? When you are in charge, something like that happens. That's why we need someone who is energetic. This is the job of the president, to go visit on site, to reassure the people that have elected him. Not, when I say reassure, not assure, because what you have been doing is, President, you have not been reassuring us, you have been assuring us. There is a great difference from assuring and the reassuring. The reassuring is that something like this happened, the nation is panicking, people are confused. That's why you are a general, and that's why you are the CNC, the commander-in-chief. You go. You told us before you were elected that you're going to lead from the front. But in some places, you lead from the back. Us, even Kumasef, you don't even lead at all. You don't even show anywhere. But it's good. I must say it that it is, you've done the right thing by going there. But let's not stop there. Those that are behind it must be routed out anywhere they are. Please, no, do not assure us. Don't assure us. Reassure Nigerians, but don't assure them, because you.
I assure you that our government.
But I assure you.
I assure you. I want to assure you.
I assure you.
Even you know that your assurance, the way you've been assuring us, if I tell you now, is it funny? You know that your assurance is funny. I mean, you know it. Your assurance is funny. That's why you can, But it is very, very painful. Mr. President, let your prediction not happen and let it not be fulfilled, because the country that was given to you is indeed going from tough to bottom. Mr. President.
ABC, Nigeria! Nigeria from top to bottom. Top to bottom.
Say that is it, Mr. President. Your country is going from top to bottom, and that is no longer a joking matter. It is an aberration that these guys will go in there and have a field day. I'm going to make it very quick tonight. Now let me leave Buhari alone and let me come to NNPP and the Labour Party. I did a video and my response to Kwankwaso the other day. Thank you for those of you who contacted me privately, but again, I did what I did because I felt Kwankwaso should be. Some of you do not believe that some of you think that I did not spend my time in responding to Kwankwaso. I do disagree. Even tomorrow, I'm having 2 Northerners on this platform. So one thing that the whole world will know, that the Northerners will the younger Northerners are coming out to say, no, Kwankwaso does not speak for us. His views are not ours. They also want a different narrative. His views are not theirs. Now, for those of you who do not know, let me quickly remind us of what Kwankwaso said.
Presidential candidate of the NNPP.
I have a particular, in fact, many reasons why I personally, as Rabi Kwankwaso, is sympathetic to the Southeast. And I think the relationship between the Labour Party and NNPP will cool down a lot of issues in the Southeast as close to Peter Obi himself. While everybody knows he has a political party, Northern voters have always got their own opinion. And it is hardly influenced by any elite or anybody we can think of. For example, if you look at the issue of the case of Muhammadu Buhari, over the years, the Northern voters decided that it was him. And even when the elites, most of the elites didn't like him, they still don't like him, but they made up their minds over the years that. Now, you see, the game plan was to make sure that Southeast is not involved in this project. Now, I believe that we'll be very happy. And even anybody from the South.
So you're hoping to pick a running mate from the Southeast?
That area. And therefore, most of the things that are happening in the South, especially in the Southeast, people are not comfortable with that. And as long as you have somebody from there in any party, it will be very difficult for the Northern voters to vote.
You see? So on this premise, I had to respond to Kwankwaso because I found his thinking very warped. I found his thinking very disturbing, and I found his the narration anti-thematic. And I concluded that Kwankwaso, by the view he represented, is not fit in any way, shape, or form to come close to anything that has to do with national office. And I do still maintain that. I have no apologies as long as he maintains that view. But who am I? The issue is, we are all, if we say there is any sense of equity, justice, and fairness, that view is very disturbing, and that view should not be should not be held. However, even as it is, now, even today, Peter Obi himself responded to him, and that is what I call class. And I said to him, sir, you've done well, because this is what we call, this is what we demand. Peter Obi responded to him in a very more matured manner. And listen to what Peter Obi said to Rabi Kwankwaso.
For my respected elder brother Kwankwaso, is the reason why we have 100 million Nigerians living in poverty.
Did you understand that? Peter Obi said, the thinking, that means the utterances, the thinking alone that emanated from the mouth of Kwankwaso is the reason why we have 100 million people that are living in poverty. Why? Because that thinking is the thinking that has held you down since 1960. the thinking that gives you that you are superior to the other person because of where both of their parents had sex and produced them. That's all. Not of the content of what is in his or her brain. No. Just, oh, he is from the Southeast, therefore, hold him down. But you forget that he who holds another down, you can't go to work. Oh. You can't go to work because the person you're holding that could be your savior. Imagine all this nonsense. But again, the man, honestly, he made me proud today by the class that he gave Kwankwaso and the way he responded to Kwankwaso.
The reason why we have 18 million Nigerian children out of school, it is the reason why we have over 55% of Nigerians in under unemployment ladder. It's the reason why we have all the problems, why Nigeria is insecure. Because rather than vote for competence, we will choose to vote for incompetence based on a primitive consideration of ethnicity and religion. Tell me, today you can't travel from Abuja to Kaduna by air, by road, by train. Is it because somebody from the southeast is in charge? You can't travel from Abuja to Mina.
Imagine if it was somebody from the southeast that is the chief of army staff or chief of defense staff. What would everybody be thinking? Oh, it is his brothers. IFAB, 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 everywhere, IFAB. It is IFAB, IFAB. That is what you'll be hearing. But here, we no concludes. You control everything. Yet, incompetence is smelling and is oozing out. Incompetence. I thank you for saying the truth, my good brother. I thank you, because some Kwankwaso must be told in no clear terms that those things he's thinking is, you cannot build a nation with that warped mentality, and must be condemned, and I believe he must be regretting it now, because probably he never expected such a audacious backlash. And I saw some tweet made by my, I don't know if I will call him brother, Reno Omokri. I mean, it pisses me off these days. I think it's actually time to begin to respond to him, but I thought maybe ignore him. But the more you ignore him, more he gets very idiotic. Sorry, but that's how he sounds. I saw where he says that, oh, by Peter Obi responding to this, that he has insulted the people of Kano. I felt like writing to him, my brother, have you lost your mind? Do you still have gray matters in between your skull? But when I read through the comment, I took back my words. Because young, vibrant people from Kano, that Reno thought we are stupid and idiots, gave him the right tutorage. They told him, Reno, this is political. Kwankwaso stirred the political honeybee nest. Therefore, whatever is happening is what we call political paracoism. Leave the people of Kano out of it, because Peter never addressed the people of Kano. He was thinking that by doing that, see, people think sometimes they are smart. We're just being smart by half. He was thinking that by doing that, he would now make the Northerners, our brothers and sisters from the North, to begin to say, oh, Peter Obi is insulting the North. So when Kwankwaso said that no Igbo man from the Southeast can and will, and nothing will make the Northerner to vote them. So when he said that, he was not insulting the Southeast, right? But Reno, I'll leave your case for another day.
By road, by train. Is it because somebody from the Southeast is in charge? You can't travel from Abuja to Mina by road. Is it because somebody from the Southeast is in charge? Yesterday we had an attack by bandits on the presidential convoy in Katsina.
Oh, imagine if the presidential convoy, the commander of the presidential convoy was from the Southeast. Imagine what would have happened. Imagine. Just be thinking about this. Why there is no national outrage is because, Kukuma, you are not in the decision-making body, so you are outside. We are all spectators. And now those that are in the inner caucus are showing us what incompetence looks like.
Because the president from Southeast is in charge. Show me where you can buy food cheaper, you have uninterrupted electricity, or people are prospering in the north because the northerners are in power, in the southwest because they're in power, and in the southeast. What we've chosen to do in this country, we will consistently hire vehicle drivers to fly the Nigerian aeroplane.
Bagam, we've been hiring, actually, we're not even hiring vehicle drivers. Sorry, Peter, here, I'm correcting you. We are hiring tanker drivers. If it is, if you drive Rolls Royce and good Mercedes, some of them are gearless now. Some of them now, you just touch button. Some of them are getting close to aeroplane. We are hiring 911 drivers. That's why a Supreme Court judge in this country was driving aeroplane. He was driving it in the name of technicalities. In the name of technicalities. Imagine what we have. Actually, we have fella who call them Pekbeye, Suegbe, Bako, someone who is, in fact, we have carpenters acting as pilots. That's why we in the words of Professor Yemi Osibanjo, that's why we are. Huh? Simple. We hired truck drivers and gave them pilots, immaculate white and blue jacket over to go and fly the Nigerian Airways. You see where we are, the Nigerian Airways.
This country, we will consistently hire vehicle drivers to fly the Nigerian aeroplane instead of hiring qualified pilots. My commitment is let us campaign and deal with issue of the problems of the country.
You see? That is it, people. Very simple. Very, very simple. Now, imagine, this is about 2 minutes. This is how he responded to all the garbage that was spewed by Rabbi Musa Kwankwaso. But even yesterday, because I didn't broadcast yesterday, even Doyo Okukwe gave him what we call, when we were growing up, there is when you fight and you knock somebody, we call it 1 blow, 7 apples. He gave
Mr. Peter Obi will not
on another sister channel, because since this political season, channels has become a mouthpiece of certain political parties, even to a point that Autumn started accusing them that stop bringing me here if you will not allow me to say the truth. But here, come on this platform, we say the truth, and we don't mind whose ox is gone.
Be a running mate to Kwankwaso. Let me tell you, that discussion or those discussions about merger, alliance and all that was led by me from our side. Is he still alive? It's dead. D-E-A-D, dead and buried. So finished.
Why I laugh is that when Kwankwaso was saying that, I was actually alarmed because many of us knew that there was no, you get it? There was no, like the way some local does it. You get it?
You get it? Okay. If you don't get it, forget about it.
I can't help you. So many of us actually knew that Kwankwaso was just, if not the part that he insulted the collective Igbo nation, if not that part, who cares? Because it means he didn't get the memo. Many people who knew what was happening knew that the train has left the station since, but he was there. Let me tell you now one thing many of you don't know. Kwankwaso is the one that needs Peter and not the other way around. I can tell you that for free of charge. The only thing Kwankwaso can do is not going anywhere. Quote me and I bet you on it. Kwankwaso will not run this election. The only thing Kwankwaso will do is to go with Atiku. because he still has that mentality that it must be North, that North must retain power. Then I ask, what has what has it benefited the North since Buhari was in power? What has he benefited it? The only thing he has benefited it was yesterday that he wanted to go home and bandits could actually knock him. Luckily, he was not in that convoy. Imagine if he was in that convoy, a sitting president. Imagine the embarrassment. Don't we even think? The only thing the presidency has benefited Buhari and his people is that they can no longer go to their farms. That they are being kidnapped at will. Not me saying it. Kadira Mohammed was saying that they now go and sell their domestic animal to pay ransom. They go and sell their grains to pay ransom. Is that what you will say that our son, this is what he brought back to us, insecurity? Even him as the president now, if this thing continues unabated, I can quote you that by May 29, 2023, that President Muhammadu Buhari will not go to Daura to retire. He must remain in Abuja, or at best, he will go to either Kano or Kaduna. More likely to be in Kaduna. He cannot go to Katsina. Why? Because if he goes to Katsina, then he's no longer the CNC. He will have limited amount of soldiers that can be there. These children will come and roast him and lick him alive. I'm telling you. That is what incompetence does. But well, maybe Kwankwaso really didn't get the memo. Didn't know when
it's dead. D-E-A-D, dead and buried. So finished. So no alliance. Mr. Peter Obi will not align with Kwankwaso. It's not Mr. Peter Obi. The Labour Party and its presidential candidate have long since withdrawn from that conversation. It was NNPP that continued to try to benefit from the traction of the popularity of Obi. And I'm now an elder statesman. Out of maturity, I decided that we will not take them on media-wise. So we kept quiet.
Exactly, and I agree with Doyin here. There are things some people, some of us knew that was happening that never would have been said, online. Even now would never be said online out of respect of some of the conversations that happened behind the scene. But then when you then look at those, you think that they had some gray matters in between their skulls. When they now begin to talk, sometimes you're taken aback. You thought, why is this person talking this way? Why? And you can only imagine why that individual.
But they kept on, going on. That alliance, the talk about the alliance had been dead for over 4 weeks. I am telling you, I am the leader of the team that went to discuss with Kwankwaso, and it was dead. We were deadlocked. The moment I asked them one single question, I said, is it fair? Would you consider it appropriate and okay for a northern president, a president of northern extraction and a Muslim, to finish 8 years and another northerner a Muslim northerner from the next state in the same zone takes over from him. And the three of them unanimously said, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. As far as I'm concerned, this discussion was over.
Doing what you did not say, actually, is also the ridiculous demands that he made. I wouldn't also say the details of those demands, but those demands were ridiculous. Even if there was any agreement on those demands, on those ridiculous demands alone, I would have walked, I would have kicked. Because these people, Jesus Christ, these people are inhumane. You cannot believe that. How can someone imagine we are trying to negotiate something. Imagine a Southeasterner was president for 8 years, for Christ's sake. And I will be sitting down here negotiating with somebody that a Southeasterner will continue. Now only Southeasterners come. Now only Southeasterners own Nigeria. Why would that be? I will carry it on my head. It will never happen. I will never support it. But here, just because of power, having power for power's sake. Have you ever seen Kwankwaso tell you one single thing he will do? Look at Peter. Peter is on the radio. Even Atiku himself has a manifesto. Even Tinubu, even if he gives you corn, cassava, agbado, recruit 5 million youth, what they eat, even in his eating and agbado, at least he's telling you that they will eat agbado. Has Kwankwaso ever told you what he will do? Has Kwankwaso ever told you what he will do? Even in eating agbado, at least you know that if you're mistakenly and become part of the 5 million youth, they will be giving you corn, cassava, and agbado. You know you eat agbado now, but in Kwankwaso's word, what will you eat? You don't know. Because for me, there is no plan. You just want to grab power. Power, give me power. Just like someone I know from the other side. They say, give me power, power. I want to be president. They give you power. What do you take? Just power, be shouting like crazy people. Power.
And it has remained over since then. But we did not come to media because I respected those who we were discussing with. You know, I never said anything. I've never mentioned anything publicly. This is the first time I'm publicly commenting on the matter. And it's because they have thrown it into the winds. So that idea is dead. I've told you, D-E-A-D, dead.
I'd like you to comment on what Senator Kwankwaso said about the ability and the capacity of the political, because I always thought.
Let's not go there. That's been dealt with. So people, when you look at this thing, you see why this is exactly why the merger, for many of you who do not know, I recap again. The reason why the merger between NNPP and Labour Party failed is very simple. They had a very rigid stand that, gave no room for maneuver. The insistence that it must be Kwankwaso, that no one from the Southeast, no one from the great Igbo nation is qualified, not on the altar of competence, no. Not that you are not qualified. Because if you look at, which I will still respond to, if you look at the video from Dino Melaye did not say that Peter wasn't qualified to be the president. Dino Melaye was only saying you have to leave it for Atiku because he's a unifier, that he married so many women from every region of the country, as if presidency is now sexually transmitted, or that you can become a president by your ability to sleep with so many women from different regions. I mean, that's how you now become president. That is the that's how we have reduced arguments to. Isn't that unbelievable? That is what Dino Melaye said. So he's saying that Obi is a good economic manager. Of course, if then Obi is a good economic manager, then please leave him to manage the economy as a president. And let him fail. Let us all of us see. Unless you do not have any interest that this nation ever sees anything good. People, you can see that the president, the next thing I think the president is about to leave. And before I go, and this man, you remember this man? You remember this man? Story has it that after this man made this video, he was knocked down in Lagos. This man was knocked down in Lagos. He's in the hospital. I think he was operated yesterday. As of the last count, we've been able to contribute up to 1.2 million for him. And, according to him, the video he made, he was approached to do a similar video for Shaky Shaky Daddy and Zapampas Liquor. So he said no. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. A car driving one way knocked him down, broke his leg. He was taken to hospital. What a coincidence. I'm not insinuating anything, but I say, what a fantastic coincidence, because he refused to do the same thing here, and he refused to be compromised to do the same thing he did here for Peter, for the Shaky Shaky Daddy.
Sure, maybe Peter Obi lẹ́yìn bá lọ.
Peter Obi is the system of government.
So young youth lẹ tẹ̀lé. Tẹ̀lé àwọn tó lanú dẹ̀. Tẹ̀lé àwọn tó lè di flag mu.
Yes o. Peter Obi
lẹ́yìn bá lọ. Yéé àwọn eléyìí.
Peter Obi is the system of government. Peter Obi by the people. Peter Obi for the people. Peter Obi responds to the people.
Yépa.
Progress and prosperities of the nation. More poverty in Nigeria. Empowerment of the whole nation and the youth of this country. T. Transparency and technocracy of government and transmission of the electricity of this country.
Yay!
All the tribulation that APC and Buhari live for him. Restoration of the resurrection of the economy resurrection of the economy of this country from the dead economy to life economy. Peter Obi is going to obey Nigerian constitution and fundamental human rights law.
Yes, sir.
He is going to be the best administration Nigeria in 1900. Peter Obi is going to use intelligent and intellectual people to run the system of administration of this country in order to turn Nigeria to be a utopianism, federalism, idealistic, and equalism country. I call all the north, all the east, all the west, and the south to call Obi into power in order to turn Nigeria to be a great nation, great people.
One love, one love, one love, one love.
Oh dear. You know, what I'm laughing is, after saying this, he was knocked down. Now, I want to show us something. Look at this tweet by your president, by the commander-in-chief. He said, today, this evening, 6:26, President Muhammad Buhari tweeted that he is saddened by the attack on the Medium Security Custodial Center, Kuje. He is also disappointed with the Nigerian intelligence system. How can terrorists organize, have weapons, attack a security installation, and get away with it? I'm expecting a comprehensive report on this shocking incident. I said, now, wow. Can somebody wake Buhari up that this has been happening? This is not the first time. Yesterday, his convoy was attacked. He was not shocked. It's just like sometimes I see, is this man asleep? Someone gave my video a thumbs up on Facebook and is angry. I don't know, but I don't know how else to, I cannot sugarcoat it. If you're not angry, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. How can a president, you're calling yourself a president and you're asking the same question that I am asking. I have controlled nothing. But sir, you are the commander-in-chief. The buck starts on your table. You have the right to find out who made this thing, who is behind this thing, and punish them speedily. Buhari, will you do it? No, you won't. You won't. Because we got angry when Agatu happened in Benue State. In Benue State, everybody in this country was mad. We woke up 2019 January. 250 fellow citizens slaughtered. 250. Everybody was mad. That was our New Year message. No Nigerian deserves to die in that manner. But sir, Mr. President, what did you do? Afterwards, you went to travel. When you came back and journalists asked you, have you seen your IG, the Inspector General of Police? Mr. Transmission Transmitter, have you seen him? Do you now have a new vigor to fighting insecurity? Mr. President, did you or have you forgotten what you said? You said that you just met with the IG, that he's losing weight, like man says, okay, that means he's working hard. Isn't that disappointing? I'm not speaking against you, Mr. President. DSS, take note. I'm only relaying what Mr. President said. Mr. President, these are your words.
I would like to use a different approach in the fight against insecurity, especially kidnapping, which is a big issue now, sir.
No, I have just seen the IG. I think he is still losing weight, so I think he is working very hard.
Mr. President, The IG, the chief of defense staff, chief of whatever staff, chief of all the security chief, they are losing weight. Oh, they are losing weight. That terrorist, in your own words, oh, in your, not mine, oh, now you talk more, no, bring me in your own words, that you are certain that these people can come, terrorists will come, organize, have weapons, attack a security installation and get away. Oga, why weren't you angry when NDA Kaduna was attacked? I've been a me attack him. Now you're angry. I pray your anger gets some result. Please, if you're watching me for the first time, please subscribe and like the stream. Only 14 people like it. Come on, like and share, people. Like and share, invite others. Or maybe we'll call it a day, people. If that is the case, if you don't want to like and share, let's call it a day. You see, that is the Nigeria you are, that the president can only get angry. And when he gets angry, and you just think, okay, now he's okay, now the president is angry, what can he do next? What can he do next? But maybe he's forgot, he hasn't got the memo. He's just like, suddenly he wakes up, oh, why is Nigerian government not refining oil? Why are we paying subsidy? Oga, have you forgotten you are the petroleum minister? Maybe we should write it boldly. Stick it in your forehead so that when you wake up and go to mirror to brush your teeth, you read it. I am still the commander-in-chief. Maybe that would make sense. These are the same questions people have been asking, those even that campaigned for you to 2015. Huh? Those that even campaigned for you, and you just want to wonder, how can we continue like this? All you see is that people just move around, go here, go here, go here. Just like that, nothing else, nothing more. And you ask yourself, how can you ever? Now, before I leave us, there is a picture that I saw today. The picture melted my heart. And I said to us, I would want to share this picture with us before I leave. And this is the picture here. This is a picture of a young girl listening to Mr. Peter Obi while he was talking on Arise TV this morning. I had about 3 people call me this morning while I was watching that. And I picked no call because I wanted to listen to every single soundbite that he was talking, that he had today. And the tweet on the Peter Obi Support Network says, those Peter Obi is fighting for are listening with rapt attention, not minding the distractions. They are the future and see no ethnicity, they see no religion, and they see no gender. They follow and listen to him because he offers something fresh and different. They concluded by saying, we all believe in a new Nigeria. But now this photo needs to be framed. Look at this young girl. You can see the chemistry of listening to the man. She's not running away. Listening to this man speaking. That photo is worth more than 1,000,000 words. On that note, people, I thank you for being part of this broadcast. I am still Mazes, okay? Please, 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 if you haven't subscribed to this platform, I beg you. Should I kneel down and beg you, Abi? Should I kneel down? Okay, I'm kneeling down now. I'm kneeling down. Please subscribe, like, and share. Please, don't forget. Okay, let me wait for a little bit. It shocked them, Abi. Let me wait a little bit. Okay, like. Some of you. I'll leave us with this. Let's ponder, let's think about this. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.
In Nigeria, a once beautiful bride crumbles into a foreboding silence.
When will all these problems
all those gifts have become a curse to her children, and things have fallen apart. The sky is darkened, and pride is lost. The promise of glory has faded into forgotten memory. Nigeria, a tragedy of divine proportions whose story has been rewritten by many authors, now has a rare chance of redemption. Peter, the light on the horizon. Obi, prop swept by the ghastly moans of her children. Gregory, the golden compass that redirects the course. Peter Gregory Obi, the antidote to the conventional disillusionment suffered by the people who call this place home. The hope that resonates with millions of ordinary Nigerians, young and old.